Hello, I'm Triza for the win, and today I'm going to be talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles again. Last time I talked about the first season, and this time I'm going to be talking about the second season of the 2003 show, which I watched as a kid and now I'm rewatching it. And it's a lot of fun. So, complete spoilers here, which doesn't really matter because the show came out like 10 years ago, actually exactly 10 years ago, the second season, because that would have been 2004. And anyways... so I'm just going to go through the story, because a lot happens in this one. So it starts off right away exciting because the last season was on a cliffhanger. We don't know what happened to the Turtles. Turns out they got teleported to another planet. Here they meet up with this Fugitoid. It's this robot who had the scientist's brain transplanted into its body. Now there's two groups of alien people. One is just humans, but they're in space, called the Federation, and there's other guys, the Triceraton, who are like these Triceratops people, aliens, and they're both after this Fugitoid because the Fugitoid, the scientist guy, came up with this plan to build a teleportal that can teleport anything to any point in the galaxy. Both these different, the Republic and the Federation, as they're called, the Triceraton Republic and the Federation, they're at war and they want to use it as a weapon. So the Turtles want to use it to get home. So the Turtles are working with the Fugitoid and trying to avoid all these guys. Eventually they end up on Triceraton's homeworld, where they end up in this gladiator fight, and they eventually break free, try to build the teleporter, but then it goes wrong, and they do end up getting teleported back to Earth by the Utroms, who we heard a little bit about in the end of the first season. Now, here they actually explain who these guys are. What happens is the Turtles go into this Matrix type thing, where they basically go into this computer simulated world in their minds that explains the whole origin of these Utrom aliens. These aliens, little brain-looking guys, were transporting a prisoner across the galaxy. He broke free and attacked the ship. It went down, crash landed in Earth. So they were just kind of chilling out in ancient Japan, waiting for the technology to advance far enough to so they could build a way home. Now we find out that the prisoner alien that escaped builds a robot body, or gets a robot body that the Utroms build, and is actually the Shredder. So that's why the Shredder didn't die when he got his head cut off, because he's actually an alien. Then the Shredder and Baxter Stockman and all his people attack the TCRI building, which is this building that they're all in. Baxter Stockman has this like spider body. He looks pretty cool. He's just a head but with a spider body. Anyways, he messes up the Matrix simulator thing, so the Turtles think they're actually in this world. So then they're fighting in ancient Japan. It's kind of cool. After that, they are able to break out of the simulator somehow, and then they fight with the Turtles, and the Utroms fight with the Shredder again, and then the Utroms are able to teleport themselves back to the Utrom planet, wherever that is, and they bring the Fugitoid with them, because the Fugitoid was still with them at that point. And then Shredder blows up the whole building and kills himself. The Turtles make it out okay then. With Splitter, because he was there also. Alright, so then after that is just kind of chill for a bit. But then since the Shredder was gone in New York, this is the next story that happens. The Foot Clan that was in New York is having their territory, their gang... Anyways, there's this huge gang war going on between the Foot Clan, the Purple Dragons, and the mob, which is like the Mafia or whatever. And it's basically like a turf war. They're all trying to fight each other, but they're mostly taking out the Foot's territory because the Foot no longer has a Shredder leading them, so no one really fears them anymore. Now, This is where we were introduced to Karai, who was the Shredder's daughter, sort of. She was adopted by the Shredder in this version. And anyway, she's in charge of the Foot Clan in Japan. But she knows shit's going down in New York, so she flies over here and comes up with a plan to get everyone to stop fighting, basically. She works with the Turtles, too, which is pretty cool. And they end up getting the Foot Clan their territory back, but it does stop the fighting, and innocent people were involved in this war as well. Well, not like innocent people were getting hurt, and that's why they wanted to stop this. I liked this story too because it had Leonardo was like, oh, we have to do something about this because we defeated the Shredder, but then everything went to hell after that, so we're kind of responsible for this. And Raphael is all like, no, this isn't our fight. This is between the Foot and the Purple Dragons and the Mob. We don't really have anything to do with this. We don't need to worry about it. And I like those two arguing because I think that's a really cool character development. And I just like those having those two argue because they really are the most clashing of the groups. Anyways, I really liked that, although it did feel a little out of character for Raphael to avoid a fight. Usually he's the one who wants to beat up people. In any case, that was cool, and Karai is kind of like this anti-hero. She doesn't really want to work against the Turtles, but yeah, because she promised that if they work together that they won't have a vendetta against them. And anyways, Shredder, turns out he did blow up. Well, he did blow up, but he used some alien worms, and now he's alive again. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I think it's cool how they keep bringing back these villains in more and more ridiculous ways. Like Baxter Stockman had a Utrom body at this point, like a Utrom alien body at this point, and it was that was cool. All right, so after that. The Shredder is working with Baxter Stockman, who's now just a brain in a jar, and an eyeball. And anyways, they're building up these robots from, based on designs from the Utroms, and they're going to use these robots to basically take over the world. And there's one robot that's like Splinter, and then that's that looks like Splinter, so then they send that after the Turtles fight him, and then the Splinter and the Turtles go after the Shredder, and the Foot Clan, who have this boat that they are using, and they send that onto the the ocean and blow it up, and defeat the Shredder again. It's pretty obviously that it's like Shredder blows up on this ship, but he survives so much more that it's not a surprise when you see that he's okay at the end. All he's really missing is a leg, which we know is robotic at this point as well. So yeah, that happens. Alright, and then the main finale of this season is the Battle Nexus tournament thing. Basically, the Turtles follow Splinter into this other dimension. There's actually a world between worlds, and basically it's there just to have this huge tournament, which is of like the greatest warriors in the entire multiverse, not just one galaxy but many galaxies. They kind of went all out in this season, just do whatever crazy stuff happens. Yes, you got that Rabbit Samurai character, which I can't remember his name. I think he's pretty cool. I think this is a good way to introduce him because I remember. I don't know exactly where the character originated from, but I believe it was a comic separate from the Ninja Turtles comic. But they introduced him in this series. I think it makes sense because it's this gathering of all different dimensions and stuff. It makes it's not like he's just kind of. I think that is a good way to encompass other forms of these other characters. So he was pretty cool, although we didn't see a lot of. I liked the idea that you have your Ninja Turtles and then your Samurai Rabbit. It's like the opposite, kind of. So I think it's cool to see them together. Of course, they're not really enemies. They work together for the most part. And then the main villains of this thing, because there's this tournament going on. The Turtles end up entering it. Michelangelo ends up winning it somehow. But the main plot is focused on this guy, the Daimyo's son, I believe he's called. The Daimyo is this guy who's like in charge of this whole tournament, and his son wants to take over and stuff like that. And then this other guy, Draco, is this dragon guy who I can't remember anyways, Splitter ended up defeating him in like the final battle, in the final round of this tournament, and so Draco wants like revenge on Splitter, and he wants to be like the leader of this Battle Nexus thing. This was a cool finale. I did enjoy it. I just think what was missing from it is that for the most, like, there's all these characters that were introduced like really suddenly, and we should have seen some of them a little or more of. If we had seen more of them earlier in the season, it would have felt more like, yeah, Turtles have to defeat these guys, but it's like the villains we just kind of met, so you don't really feel it as much as when they're like fighting the Shredder. You're like, oh yeah, they gotta defeat the Shredder and stuff. And then at the very end of the season, they defeat all the bad guys or whatever, and then they're back on Earth. They're like, yay, we did it. And then it shows a Triceraton ship coming towards Earth, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna take over and stuff. And it's like, and then that's the end. And I think generally that's a better way to end a season, not like just a sudden cliffhanger like the first season. Although that really gets you excited for the next one, but it also kind of pisses you off. This one, it does conclude the story, which is like, thank you, but then it also sets up a potential for the next season. Alright, so now I'm actually going to talk about the season, or at least some of the things. I think this season is definitely at least as good as the first one. It's not, well, it's a lot more crazy, and I think that's fine. It's about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They can't really get a whole lot crazier than that. So yeah, they kind of go all out. They add aliens, they add other dimensions and stuff like that. And at the end, it just kind of encompasses some of the different places that they come across. Like, there's a Triceraton guy in the tournament. I thought that was cool. And then there's a few other obscure episodes. Like, there's a couple episodes in this one that revisit plots from the first season, which I thought that was a good idea. Like, they conclude the story arc of the underground place where the Turtles go underneath their lair, and they find all these people that were mutated and experimented on and stuff, and they find a cure for that, and finish that story and stuff like that. A couple other villains returned, and then like they did have one episode that introduced the Daimyo and the Daimyo's son character. He dueled with Leonardo, and that was okay. Like there's this other episode where April and the Turtles randomly teleport to this other dimension where they fight off some giant wasps, and then they go home. That's basically the whole episode. I think it would have been cool, because that one, Donatello's like explains, oh, well, there could be all kinds of alternate universes that are just alternate dimensions that are just at different frequencies from our Earth and stuff like that. So I think it would have been cool if they came across a character there that appeared in the tournament at the end. That would be, I think, a better way to encompass some of the more, to encompass more of what we've seen earlier in the season. Because the last 4 episodes, although I like all the different aliens and creatures that are in the tournament are really creative and really cool designs and stuff. And I think all of them are great. It's just, it would have been cooler to see some more characters that we've met before this. And it does kind of introduce a few characters quite, suddenly. But it is cool to see how some of this ties together. Like, I think it would have been cool if there was like an Utrom warrior in the tournament. I'm not sure if they could do that. I guess they could have like a robotic body for that, right? Or something like that. That would have been cool, I think. Something, or maybe they're just an Utrom who uses like swords or something. I don't know. That would have been cool. I don't know how exactly an Utrom would be able to actually fight stuff, but that would have been awesome to see. I think they should have done a little more with a couple of the episodes to tie everything together just a little bit better. But for what we got, it was definitely fun and definitely enjoyable. The one thing I noticed they amped up in this season is the references. The first story arc where they're in space, there's like at least a dozen Star Wars references, which is great. I love Star Wars, and I love Star Wars references as long as they're clever, and most of them are clever. And yeah, there's a couple other episodes that reference Star Wars as well. There's one episode where they just talk about, remember that one time where we fought the Shredder, and then it shows the episode where they fought, and it shows the clips from when they fight the Shredder. Then it's like, remember that other time we fought the Shredder? And then it shows the next episode where they fought the Shredder. And it's just a waste of an episode, which is too bad. Although, I guess if you had missed all those episodes, it would have been nice to see, it would have been a nice catch-up episode. It's like, okay, now I get everything that's happened up to this point, basically. Although, other than that, it's pretty much pointless. Yeah, this one is more about the Turtles, I guess. Casey Jones and April don't really show up in too many episodes. Like, they're there every once in a while, but they don't do a whole lot. And then the first little bit, like, one thing I thought was great, there's one episode where they were the last episode of the Utroms storyline where they actually finally get out of the TCRI building. They just throw in a lot of references to the 80s show, which I thought was awesome. One, April is actually in her yellow jumpsuit, and she's like, I'm a news reporter, can I get past? Because the military have blocked off the entrance and stuff, they're trying to get in. And so she tries this to get in, and I thought this was really clever. She has a number 9 on her jacket, and she's like, I'm from Channel 9 News, and then it flips around to a 6, and she's like, Channel 6 News. And I thought that was really clever because in the original 80s show, she was from the Channel 6 news company. So, and then she even says, you're a news reporter? Like, one of the turtles is like, are you a news reporter now? She's like, maybe in another life. And it's like, I think it's fun. It's kind of strange that it's just like this episode they decided to put a bunch of references. Because there's this Utrom that's about to leave to be teleported back to the Utrom world. He was in a robotic body or whatever first, that he gets out and is walking on his tentacles to go into the teleporter thing. And he's like, I hate walking on my tentacles. And then this other Utrom's like, shut up, Krang! And it's like, Krang, that was the Utrom-like creature from the original show, the 80s show. And one of Krang's main things was that he wanted a robotic body because he didn't like being a brain blob thing. And I thought that was clever. And it's kind of cool how Krang was obviously based on the Utrom characters, but it was kind of its own take on it. And now the Utroms are being influenced by Krang. I kind of like how there's all these different versions of the Turtles, and they kind of influence each other. There's more about that in the movie The Turtles Forever, which was like an animated movie of this show, which is awesome. I'll review that at one point. But yeah, I think that's it. More Turtles, more awesome. All the action is good. I like the new character. I like Karai. I really like the Triceratons. They were cool aliens. Some of the filler episodes were like this weird thing that they do. There was one filler episode in this one and in the last one about a superhero, like this superheroes that exist in the Turtles universe, but they only exist for like these singular episodes. It's like, why are they not helping them when they have to fight the Shredder and stuff? Like, do the superheroes just exist for these singular episodes? And it's like, then why are they even existing in this Earth? Maybe since you have all these other dimensions, why do they exist in like an alternate dimension or something? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It's like suddenly, there's these superheroes. Wouldn't it be cool if we were more like them? Or like, what? Where did they come from? I don't get it. And like, Mikey was reading these comics of the superheroes, and then it turns out they're real. It's like, how did you not know this? How is this not like a huge thing? If superheroes were real, everyone would know about it. It's not like, they were just a comic book. Like, no, everyone would know. It'd be a huge thing. that's one thing that I'm like, why? Why is this not either huge or like in a separate universe? Because it basically should be, because it only happens like once a season for some reason. Anyway, I just think it's dumb. It needs to make more sense. That needs to make more sense. But everything else I loved, and there's a lot of really great story arcs. You always want to see what happens next, and it makes a lot of fun. And I don't really remember season 3 much, so I'm excited to see where it goes. And that's about it. See you next time. Yeah, bye.